Before the sold-out stadiums, before the record-breaking tours, before her name topped charts across every continent, there was a girl with a pen, a guitar, and a dream that refused to stay small. Long before the lights, the awards, and the applause, Taylor Swift believed in one thing: that stories matter. She believed that feelings could become lyrics, and lyrics could become lifelines. What began as words written in notebooks slowly turned into songs, and those songs would one day change millions of lives. Taylor Swift didn't just rise to fame, she built it. Era by era, song by song, she rewrote herself in public, evolving with every album while staying rooted in honesty. Where the industry often molds artists into something safe and sellable, Taylor chose a different path. She took control of her sound, her image, and eventually her legacy. Her journey is not just about success, it's about reinvention in the face of doubt, resilience under relentless scrutiny, and the courage to speak, even when the world tries to define you first. This is the story of Taylor Allison Swift, not just a singer, not just a songwriter, but a cultural force. A woman who turned her life into music, and her music into history. Taylor Allison Swift was born on December 13, 1989, in Reading, Pennsylvania, and raised on a quiet Christmas tree farm in the town of Wyomissing. Far from the bright lights of the music industry, her childhood was simple, grounded, and filled with imagination. But even in those early years, it was clear that Taylor saw the world differently. Where others saw ordinary moments, she saw stories waiting to be told. Music entered her life at a young age. Inspired by her grandmother, an opera singer, Taylor became fascinated with melody and performance. By the time she was 9 years old, she was already singing at local events, fairs, and small gatherings. But singing wasn't enough. She wanted to write. She wanted to capture feelings, conversations, and moments in time, turning emotion into something permanent. At 12, Taylor learned to play the guitar, and everything changed. The instrument became her voice. She began writing songs about school, friendships, crushes, and heartbreak, experiences that felt deeply personal, yet instantly relatable. Her lyrics were honest, detailed, and emotionally precise, revealing a maturity far beyond her years. Her parents quickly recognized that Taylor's passion wasn't a phase, it was a calling. They made a bold decision that would change her life forever. The family moved to Nashville, Tennessee, the heart of country music. It was a leap of faith, fueled by belief in a young girl who refused to let her dreams stay small. In Nashville, Taylor wasn't chasing fame. She was chasing opportunity. And with every song she wrote, she was one step closer to finding her place in the world. Nashville was not the fairy tale ending Taylor had imagined. It was a city filled with talent, ambition, and rejection. Day after day, she walked into offices with her guitar, playing songs for executives who often said no. Doors closed, meetings ended quickly, and the word "too young" followed her everywhere she went. But Taylor didn't wait for permission to be heard. While other artists searched for songs, she wrote her own, relentlessly. She spent hours in her bedroom, at songwriting sessions, and performing anywhere she was allowed to play. Her lyrics were detailed and fearless, telling stories from a teenage perspective that country music had rarely centered before. At just 14 years old, Taylor achieved something remarkable. She became the youngest songwriter ever signed by Sony ATV Music Publishing. It was proof that her talent was real. But songwriting alone wasn't enough. She wanted to be the one singing her stories. Soon after, Taylor signed with Big Machine Records, a brand new label taking its own risk on a teenage girl. She became their very first artist. Together, they were building something from the ground up, a label and a career growing side by side. In 2006, Taylor released her debut album, Taylor Swift. It introduced the world to a new kind of artist. Songs like Tim McGraw weren't flashy. They were honest. They spoke directly to young listeners who had never heard their own lives reflected in music so clearly. Taylor Swift wasn't chasing trends. She was creating connection. And slowly, song by song, that connection began to grow. By the time Taylor Swift began working on her second album, she was no longer just a promising newcomer. She was an artist learning how to stand her ground. Still a teenager, still underestimated, Taylor poured every fear, hope, and dream into a project that would define her early career. She called it Fearless, not because she wasn't afraid, but because she chose courage anyway. Released in 2008, Fearless captured the intensity of young emotion with remarkable clarity. Songs like Love Story and You Belong With Me transformed deeply personal experiences into global anthems. They crossed genre boundaries, dominating country radio while breaking into pop charts around the world. Taylor was no longer speaking only to a niche audience. She was speaking to an entire generation. The album's success was undeniable. Fearless became the best-selling album of the year in the United States, and its impact reached far beyond sales. In 2010, Taylor Swift won the Grammy Award for Album of the Year, becoming the youngest artist in history to receive the honor at that time. Overnight, she went from rising star to cultural phenomenon. But success came with a price. As her visibility grew, so did criticism. Some dismissed her music as too personal. Others questioned her songwriting. Yet Taylor never backed away from what made her different. Instead, she leaned into it. She proved that vulnerability wasn't a weakness. It was her greatest strength. Fearless wasn't just an album. It was a declaration. Taylor Swift had arrived, and she was only getting started. As Taylor Swift's fame continued to rise, so did the conversation around her talent. Critics questioned whether she truly wrote her songs alone, suggesting her success was shaped by others behind the scenes. Instead of arguing back, Taylor chose to respond the only way she knew how, through her music. In 2010, she released Speak Now, an album written entirely by herself. Every lyric, every melody, every emotion came directly from Taylor's pen. It was a bold move, especially in an industry that rarely trusted young female artists with full creative control. But for Taylor, it wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about telling her truth without interruption. The songs on Speak Now were deeply personal, addressing moments left unsaid, public criticism, heartbreak, and self-reflection. Tracks like Back to December and Dear John revealed a songwriter unafraid to confront her past, while Mean became an anthem for standing tall in the face of judgment. The album debuted at #1 and was met with critical acclaim, solidifying Taylor's reputation as one of the most authentic voices in music. More importantly, Speak Now marked a turning point. Taylor Swift was no longer just a young star navigating fame. She was an artist claiming ownership of her narrative. With this era, Taylor made something clear to the world: her voice didn't need permission. It had earned its place. By the time Taylor Swift began work on her fourth album, she was standing at a crossroads. No longer a teenager, no longer untouched by fame. Taylor was experiencing life at full intensity. Love, heartbreak, confusion, and self-discovery, all unfolding under a public microscope. The result was Red. Released in 2012, Red was a bold, emotionally complex album that refused to stay in one genre. Taylor blended country roots with pop hooks, rock energy, and electronic sounds, reflecting the chaos of young adulthood. She described love during this time as burning red, passionate, painful, and unforgettable. Songs like We Are Never Ever Getting Back Together and I Knew You Were Trouble showed a new confidence, while All Too Well revealed Taylor at her most vulnerable. The song, raw and detailed, quickly became a fan favorite, praised for its storytelling, emotional depth, and honesty. It was proof that Taylor's greatest strength wasn't reinvention alone, but emotional truth. The Red era was also a period of intense scrutiny. Her relationships became headlines, and her personal life was reduced to tabloid narratives. But instead of retreating, Taylor continued writing, turning public judgment into private reflection. Red didn't just capture heartbreak, it captured transition. It was the sound of an artist shedding old expectations and stepping towards something new, even if the path forward wasn't fully clear yet. After Red, Taylor Swift made a decision that would redefine her career. She didn't just want to experiment with pop. She wanted to fully embrace it. Inspired by the sounds and aesthetics of the late 1980s, Taylor set out to reinvent herself, not halfway, but completely. The result was 1989. Released in 2014, 1989 marked Taylor's official transition from country star to global pop icon. The album was sleek, confident, and unapologetic. Songs like Shake It Off, Blank Space, and Style dominated radio stations worldwide, while their visuals helped define a new image. Modern, playful, and self-aware. But 1989 wasn't just successful, it was historic. She was setting the standard. With 1989, Taylor proved something rare in music. Reinvention didn't erase her past, it elevated it, and the world was listening. At the height of her success, the narrative around Taylor Swift suddenly shifted. Public feuds, leaked conversations, and online backlash painted her as something she didn't recognize. Headlines turned harsh. Social media became relentless, and for the first time, Taylor found herself not just criticized, but attacked. Instead of responding, she disappeared. No interviews, no explanations, no defense. For months, silence replaced the spotlight. But behind the scenes, something powerful was happening. Taylor was writing again, not to please, not to explain, but to reclaim her identity. In 2017, she returned with Reputation. Darker, sharper, and unapologetic, the album shattered expectations. Songs like Look What You Made Me Do announced a new chapter, one that confronted public perception head-on. The snake imagery wasn't denial, it was ownership. Taylor took the symbols used against her and turned them into armor. Yet beneath the bold exterior, Reputation revealed something deeper. Songs like Delicate and New Year's Day showed vulnerability, intimacy, and the quiet rebuilding of trust. It was an album about finding real connection when the world is loud and unforgiving. The Reputation tour became one of the highest-grossing tours in history, proving that the audience hadn't left. They were waiting. Taylor Swift hadn't fallen. She had transformed. In 2019, the music world watched as Taylor Swift revealed a battle that had been brewing behind the scenes for years. She no longer owned the master recordings of her early albums. For most artists, this would be a blow. For Taylor, it was a challenge she refused to ignore. Rather than accept defeat, she embarked on a bold and unprecedented journey, re-recording her entire catalog. Taylor's version was more than a legal move, it was a statement. It was about reclaiming ownership, rewriting the rules, and showing the world that an artist's voice cannot be silenced by contracts or corporate control. The project was historic. Fans celebrated each re-release, turning nostalgia into empowerment. Songs like Love Story, Taylor's version, and All Too Well, 10-minute version, didn't just honor the originals, they elevated them, giving new depth, emotion, and perspective. Taylor had taken what was once out of her hands and turned it into a legacy she fully controlled. This era wasn't just about music or contracts. It was about agency. Taylor Swift became a symbol for artists everywhere, a reminder that talent is only part of the battle, and ownership is power. Through this fight, she showed the world that resilience isn't just about surviving criticism or heartbreak. It's about standing up, taking control, and ensuring your story is yours alone. In 2020, as the world paused, Taylor Swift surprised fans with Folklore, an album that felt like a quiet storm. Stripped of stadium production and glittering pop, the music was intimate, poetic, and cinematic. Written in isolation during the global pandemic, it revealed a side of Taylor the world rarely saw, reflective, introspective, and fearless in storytelling. Evermore followed shortly after, deepening this narrative world with layered lyrics and ethereal melodies. These albums were not just experiments, they were proof that Taylor could evolve beyond expectation, creating art that resonated on its own terms, away from the glare of fame and headlines. Then came the Eras Tour, a celebration of every chapter of her career. Each era, each song, each costume told a story of growth, reinvention, and perseverance. From the innocence of Fearless to the sophistication of 1989, from the bold defiance of Reputation to the introspection of Folklore, Taylor brought her history to life on stage. The tour wasn't just a performance, it was a living anthology. Fans sang every word, connecting with the music that had accompanied them through heartbreak, joy, and transformation. Taylor Swift had created something extraordinary, not just an artist's journey, but a shared experience spanning generations. Through it all, one truth remained: Taylor's artistry isn't defined by charts, awards, or controversy. It's defined by her ability to tell stories that matter, to capture emotion, and to evolve without losing herself. Taylor Swift's journey is more than a story of fame. It is a story of resilience, authenticity, and vision. From a small-town girl with a notebook to a global superstar commanding arenas, Taylor has shown that music can be both deeply personal and universally powerful. She has rewritten what it means to be an artist in the 21st century, blending genres, reclaiming ownership, and using her platform to challenge industry norms. Fans around the world don't just listen to her songs, they connect with her honesty, find solace in her stories, and see courage reflected in her choices. Her influence extends far beyond music. She has inspired a generation to speak up, to embrace vulnerability, and to fight for their dreams and their rights. She has proven that success is not simply measured by charts or awards, but by the lives touched and the barriers broken along the way. Taylor Swift is more than a singer, more than a songwriter. She is a cultural icon, a storyteller, and a symbol of empowerment. Her story is still being written, but one thing is certain: her voice and her legacy will resonate for generations to come.